Hello and welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented lightworkers and the innovative influencers of our time. Tonight we'll be talking to a multidimensional healer who channels angelic and galactic beings while using functional medicine to uncover what's actually blocking transformation in every area of her clients' lives. She'll be sharing how to identify these hidden imbalances and how they can unlock and fulfill potential for health, wealth, relationships, and purpose all at once. That will be after this quick commercial, however, where we talk about something very important with serious joy. Stay tuned. And we're back. Well, a couple things there. I don't know if you noticed in the commercial. We got a lot going on right now at SeriousJoy.com. It's the 40 days of self-love. A few years ago, I plotted that if you plant a seed with your heart and intention at the beginning of the Leo season, and you carry that intention for 40 straight days into step 11 Virgo, it will manifest. It will at least begin to manifest, depending on how focused you were. And what it is a free program that comes when you sign up for SeriousJoy.com. It's just $3.99 for the first month and then $19.95 for the second. So we're talking about $24 for you to be having a journey through your heart. Now, for those who've had a journey through their heart, you can take it the high road with my latest class, Intro to Step Astrology. This is a class that is divided into two categories, the personal and the professional, and I'm releasing some of the secrets to the step system in its entirety, which I've never done before. This is the formal release of what the step system is. It's the formal announcement to the world of what the step system is, and it's also the formal announcement that we have changed astrology forever. If you don't have the step system in your toolkit and you're an astrologer, for instance, I think you're missing out on a lot. It actually improves the ability to read accurately, probably about 40 to 45% is my experience. But it also helps you if you're a tarot card reader or if you are a Reiki healer or any others, because the step system is the foundation of human consciousness. I call it a human conscious operating system. You can find out more and take the class still. We actually have just our second intro class tomorrow on Saturday morning. You can get right in. Simply visit seriousjoy.academy. All right, tonight we're joined by Maria Martinez, who calls herself a Galactic DNA Architect, which I think is really a cool name, a quantum alchemist, and a wealth conscious activator. I need some activation. She works with high achieving women, business leaders who've hit invisible walls and had their success by helping them break through their energetic blocks. And she does this with the help from her angelic and galactic guides. Please welcome to our show, Step 6 Pisces, I believe. Yes, it is. Maria Martinez. Sorry. Hi, Maria.
How are you? Thank you for having me. It's amazing.
I stumbled on Pisces, and I'll tell you why later, but Step 6 is a very nice, cool Pisces. Very chill.
Beautiful.
With incredible empath ability. Incredible. So nice to have you here. It sounds like you're doing some really interesting work. And I'm curious, I guess, to start off with, this is so new, for instance, or at least it's come back. Maybe perhaps it was here on the Earth prior in the ancient civilizations. What was the first, at what point did you step off the galactic wall, and into this new universe of energy?
Are you referring to my time here on Earth or remembering from other?
Considering it's you, that's a fair question. No, I'm just considering like at the point where you went from the normies to like, something completely, the science doesn't look at, et cetera, where you took that metaphysical step.
Yeah. I'm looking back at my timeline here, and I think it was just sort of a progression that happened. I started working with my guides and my angels and other galactic beings very early on, at the age of 5, 6 years old and going
Wow.
on mission trips here on Earth and into other planes. So I feel like it was awakening and a remembrance that it
Mm.
was gradual to more and more. I remember also having several encounters with galactic beings from the early age of around 8, and that continued through different ages. And even now, I work with them in many situations. I'm helping people either connect with their galactic family or remove beings that are not in their highest good.
That's an interesting topic. We'll have to come back to it, actually. And just for one more follow up, if you don't mind, how does a person, especially at 5 or 6, it sounds like you accept this as true. Obviously, your family, you had either invisible friends or they accepted it as true. I guess to other people who might experience this in question, what does it feel like inside of you? That makes it true. I know it's.
Yeah, it was very natural to me. It was second nature to me,
Mm,
to be visited by different beings, and some of them were the ascended masters, like Mother Mary,
oh,
Archangel Michael, Jesus, and other beings that were from other planets. So being around different beings was very natural to me. And then later, when I started talking about what I was doing, what I was seeing, what I was dreaming about, I found out that I actually come from a lineage of shaman. So it wasn't a surprise to my family, though they felt like I was a little young and they were concerned that I didn't have a lot of the tools. But then we recognized that my training was with the beings that were already showing up with me and for me and taking me on the missions.
wow, that's fascinating. Well, incredible you had that family, of course, all planned. You know,
Yeah, of
perhaps
course.
it's your culture, or was it unique to your family, or was it part of your culture also?
I would say it's part of the culture as well.
Mm,
There within my family, there are only a few of us that practice that
okay.
chose this path, but we many of us have different gifts like clairvoyance, claircognizant, strong intuition.
Mm.
So it runs in the family, and I see it also among the culture.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I feel like a really important direction to start with is by defining these names you have, these job titles. For instance, the Galactic DNA Architect. How do you define that?
Yeah. So a lot of the work that I do now is to identify within the individual their origin and the discrepancies of their DNA, and re-architecting the DNA to restore them to their divine blueprint. So when I work with somebody, it's a beautiful canvas. It's like an expansion of the multidimensional self. And I see all the timelines, all the planes of existence, and it looks like a beautiful masterpiece. And I can identify the codex that is turned off, reverse, or not working at the time. And I can trace it back to when it happened, so the root cause of it, whether it was a traumatic experience, whether it was something that happened uh, as a source of other interferences, like other entities or beings or other galactic beings coming in and interfering with the divine blueprint. So out of doing that work and asking, what else is next for me? What is my mission? What is the high next level mission? These, I call them titles, but it really is the work that I do
Hmm.
that came about.
Mm. So you're kind of doing psychic intergalactic surgery, kind of, I guess, on repairing cords or energetic cords or pathways. So it sounds like, if I may extrapolate, that it doesn't matter how many lifetimes you have, these sort of cords are disrupted until someone like you comes along and fixes them. Is that to
They,
be understood?
yeah, they can be. It doesn't matter really how many times you've had, even if you were self-actualized in different lifetimes, because we have those lifetimes where we weren't, or this lifetimes where we knew who we were, but we didn't fully get there. Something else interrupted. So I look at, especially when somebody comes to me and they say, I'm ready for the next level mission. I'm ready to create an impact in a world bigger than I am now. I'm ready
Yeah.
to step into the highest version of myself. So I look at these little points in their lives and timelines and
Okay.
energetic field, uh, and I can identify, okay, I see this is what happened here. I can see this other interruption. I can see the break in these codes here. And we can go back. And I guess it could be a little bit like psychic surgery, but what I like to call it is going back and restoring the divine blueprint to its original form, where we are all supernatural, where we all can identify. Uh, all our ancient history and tap into it and live into that potential and create the life that we want. And bridge
So,
here, which is really important. Sorry.
so was that thing? I apologize. I stepped on you. The last thing you said, I stepped on you. I'm sorry. What was it?
Oh, I just no, and bridge it into this reality, because that's the goal, right? Living a fulfilled life and creating the
Mm,
impact here as well, and living a fulfilled life.
mm. And so it seems as though, we come and go, and those wounds remain in reality somehow, in the matrix of reality, it sounds like, and you go in and you fix them. What about a quantum alchemist? What is a
Quantum
quantum alchemist?
alchemy. Yeah, the quantum alchemy is similar and a little bit different. So in
Mm,
quantum alchemy, we are shifting and changing the energetic that is there, the energetic blueprint that's already there. And we're also changing the frequency of that. So we're moving everything into source frequency. So that's the quantum alchemy. And by doing so, what's happening to the individual is they're taking quantum leaps in their reality. So so for instance, if they're facing a challenge, that challenge all of a sudden doesn't feel like such a challenge, or
mm,
there's a health concern, all of a sudden, the symptoms are minimized and there's a resolution for it. Or they're manifesting something and they have different blocks, we remove the blocks, and now they're able to attract, call in, and move that into their reality. So they're creating quantum shifts all around their lives, every area of their life. And that is, again, going into the blueprint, going into and see the energetic discrepancies, looking at the timelines, looking at what is there. And we also look at the codex and the frequency. So we're playing with the frequency, elevating the individual into a new state of consciousness, a higher frequency, and they're holding a new energetic vibration.
wow. So basically, I can just turn in my ascension homework to you, and you'll do it. Is that what you're telling me? This is hireable. I don't have to go through this page. Oh,
Absolutely.
that'd be
It can
wonderful.
be done.
Put me down for a package. What about a wealth consciousness activator? Now, that's
Yeah,
cool.
that's also really fun. So in the quantum field, when going to the wealth consciousness, and they're not separate from each other, by the way, because we're working in different pieces of who we are, and we bring them and integrate them together. Wealth consciousness, what we look at is many different levels of how you relate and how you embody your divine fortune. So we
Yes.
all are creation itself. So there's an abundance of what we want and desire already in our field, and everything that we ever wanted, it's already in our field. And it's about the healing, the transformation, reprogramming, and also up leveling the relationship we have with havingness, abundance, wealth, prosperity, and uh, the the idea of everything is available to me. So we work at the multidimensional levels: the mental, the emotional, the physical, because a lot of times we embody the lack and scarcity or the pain of loss, especially related to money, in our physical body. So we work at all different levels to remove those energetic, emotional, mental blocks, and we shift the reality into the embodiment of wealth consciousness, which is, I can have it now, it's available to me. And I am the creator of that versus it's outside me. I also
Mm,
have a formula for manifesting that I incorporate into wealth consciousness.
I love it. I love it. I'll take a look at it myself. I've been fascinated with formulas as well, and that's the same team. I'd say I'm on the same team that you are, except through education, of those points and finding them. Do you remember your very first, interaction as a child, like who that was? I know you said it was young, but was there a particular? Is there an important person or important entity or being that is your overall, you know, goddess, fairy goddess mother?
Yeah. It's interesting because initially they were always next to me, but not in front of me. Like I
Oh,
always felt their support behind me and walking with me.
mm,
And I don't ever remember like looking back and saying, "Who are you?" There was a knowing and there was a familiarity that I had with them, that I knew who they were. Eventually, over the years, they started revealing themselves to me. I mean, very clearly, I remember Archangel Michael, Mother Mary, Jesus, and I also remember Melchizedek coming in, other goddesses that came in, and then it became sort of a collective, like collective goddess energy or the collective ascended master energy, and then
right.
it moved into the specific like Arcturians and Pleiadians, and then it became a collective. And now I work with a collective source, which
Oh,
is the luminous beings of light. So it's that like it was almost like a, getting to know everybody that was kind of in the same community, and
Right.
then you meet Source, and then you have this beautiful relationship with Source. And yes, you can elicit the help of anyone, but you also can directly receive the downloads, what is next for somebody from Source.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's fascinating. And so like that one unique voice you can kind of hear every now and then in the crowd, right, or whatever in the group, some the collective, right? They speak as one almost, right? It's interesting because when we
Yeah.
talked, yeah, we talked to alien civilization, same thing. They kind of merged like 9 or 10 or 12 into sort of one singular voice.
Hmm.
Yeah, fascinating. So what about angelic mentorship? I'm real curious about that because I feel like I've had it, especially with Archangel Michael. It seems like the archangel that you got a lot of guidance from in particular. It took an interest in you, I would say. What was that like?
Well, my guides, from the angelic realm were Archangel Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel. Uh, Archangel Michael always showed up when we did our mission work. He was sort of a protector. He was always behind me and supporting me. So I always felt really safe when he was there. With Archangel Raphael, he showed up often when we were doing healings.
Uh,
And
yeah.
Gabriel often was when there was an activation to be done. And some of those were activations were for myself, but a lot were for others as well. They had sort of and I think this is different depending on how you work with them or how they're helping you evolve. So with me, they would show up at different times depending on who I was working with or what we were doing at the time.
Mm.
Archangel Michael seemed to be around on a regular basis. He just seemed like he was available, and maybe it was what again either I needed or what was needed for the job, because a lot of the mission work that I did was initially was restoring and retrieving particles or fragments and restoring them to the individual, especially from lower dimensions. So it was very interesting, when they came in and what they were helping me in, and the feeling that I had in terms of like, oh, here's Archangel Michael. Yeah, I feel really protected, and I know I'm going to get the tools to take care of this mission and make this mission successful. And with Archangel Raphael, Raphael also showed up when I was working with others when they were transitioning into another life, as well as Archangel Gabriel when they were leaving their body. So again, they gave me a lot of tools or a knowing of what to do when I was in front of different situations.
Right. That's interesting. And you do just feel this presence with you. I can affirm that's how it has been for me too. You just know who it is, and at first you're excited, right? And then you're just kind of like, oh, it's a family. It's no big
Yeah,
deal, right? But you've
yeah,
had. I'm sorry.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, exactly. I think initially there was a remembrance and a familiarity, so it was very natural for me. And then when I started to recognize, oh, they're showing up, they're not from this world. But then again, it was the connection was already there, so they were like family now coming in.
Yeah.
And they would come in the sort of in the astro, they would come in just in the inner or outer eye, and they were coming physically as well. I could see them right in front of me in
I
different
was actually that
situations.
was the next thing. Your first face-to-face encounter with beings from the Galactic Federation. I mean, is that similar, or you're talking about Archangel Michael would
I've
appear as an apparition, and then Galactic Federation would beam down?
Yeah, it was interesting because it with the Galactic Federation, I was in Australia. I was doing a training there, and similar to the work that we're doing now. And they started showing up, like they kind of walked in the door, and I looked over, and I wasn't the only one that saw them. The person that was facilitating also saw them, and she said, "Hold on a second," and she said, "Not now. Let me finish." So I was, oh, this is really interesting. I'm not the only one that I can see them coming in. And I mean, they were walking into the room. And so after we were done, she did what she needed to do. And then I went outside, sat for a moment, and asked, was there a message for me? And they entered the room, they showed up again. And the conversation that I had with them, it wasn't something I can say, oh my gosh, this is really, it was more like, we're here, we've been here. And now that you're aware of us, you're going to see us more often. We're going to be working with you on different things. And then, eventually you'll be able to come and see where we are, meet us where we are, meet with us. And that has happened. I've gone to the ship, especially when they're having their conference or meeting. I walked around the room. Not everybody was ready to reveal themselves to me, but that was very interesting. So it was more like an introduction initially, like we're here, almost like saying, don't be afraid. We're here to help. We're here to work with you. This is how we're going to work with you, and we'll be showing up in different situations or scenarios. We'll be here to help you, and we'll be eliciting your help as well. So, it was
Yeah.
sort of like an agreement.
Yeah, totally. It sounds like cooperation and mission, if you will.
Uh-huh.
I mean, something
Yeah.
like that would be probably predetermined.
Uh-huh.
There'd be evidence in the astrology chart too of the plan, if you will. Yeah,
Mhm.
fascinating. You get to have it. So over the years, you've met Arcturians, Platians, and Syrians, which I'm a Syrian reincarnate here. And what are some key messages or lessons you received from these meetings and each of them, and how they separated and at the same time uh, similar? Excuse me.
Yeah. So the way I've met them, and the way I currently interact with them is when I'm working with an individual. I often don't just ask for what is next and do you have a message for me. It's sort of like we're a team, and they come in to help and work with the individuals. Um, when I'm asking a question, I'm asking source directly. What is this about? What am I to do with this? What is the next part of my mission?
Mm.
Um, I've and I see them all the time when they come in to work with me or work with the individual. And I kind of just step back and let them do what they're here to do. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, they're the experts in what they're doing. So that's the kind of relationship that I have with them. It's a beautiful working relationship where we're holding space and they come in and they work with the individual.
Terrific. And how would you say that Syrians work then over Palladians? I mean, can you see the distinctions in the client, anyways?
Yeah. So when I work with Syrians, it's very interesting. Now that you're asking, so when I work, so the Platians and the Arcturians and the Syrians, the way they come in, they obviously have a distinction in their color, and
Oh,
the frequencies that they bring in are also very different.
hmm.
The Syrians often come with a very beautiful like gold color, and they bring in a frequency of healing. But they also work with the DNA. I don't know if you also do that or you remember it. But they also work with the DNA, and we work a lot on the spine with the individual, the codes in the spine.
Hmm.
With the Arcturians, a lot of them work in the heart level, uh,
Mm.
the heart, and they expand the heart and they work on the attachments, so the currents that go out to the many lifetimes. A lot of the emotional is that, and sometimes they go into the programming of the mental programming that is there, or the mental body. With the Palladians, it's kind of an overall sort of like moving through the body, scanning through the body, and running different frequencies to clear the individual. Um,
Hmm.
one of the
Fascinating.
techniques that they use, yeah, one of the techniques that they use is identifying different spots in their fields, especially in the chakra system, and they
Mm.
extract those fields, and they kind of look like interrupts. And so you have the energy center, and you have a almost like a like debris in the chakra systems, and they pull those out. So these are just examples of how they work with different clients. But the examples are many. There's many different ways that they work with
Uh,
clients.
and you just watch what's happening, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
visualize
So
those. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm a facilitator, right? When we say we are healers, we're like holding the space for the healing to happen. So they're the ones that are coming in. Sources are the ones coming in and doing the healing. So I'm doing the observation. Sometimes I can see and I say, oh, there's that. There's this other thing here. There's this other, either implant or occupant here, and they go in and they do the work. So I'm relaying what's happening to the individual, and sometimes they bring in a frequency that the client needs to hear. So I'll download the frequency, and I make it audible, like light language or a tone.
Uh,
So I participate. That's the way I participate, holding the space, receiving the downloads, and verbalizing what's happening, what they're doing for the client, and
did
identifying other things that I see.
you say Virgoizing? No,
Verbalizing.
verbalizing. No, no, I want to go there. But that is kind of Virgoizing in some regards. That's really fascinating. And how often do you see an immediate change in the client? I mean, I'm assuming you're on Zoom or you're in front of someone. Do you just see an energy,
Oh,
pop? They just pop out
it's
of
almost immediate. Yeah, it's almost
the
immediate.
mm,
At the end of, my sessions are either 25 or 50 minutes. Both are very impactful. Obviously, in the 50-minute, we have more time. But as soon as we get into the work, they
yeah.
begin to feel the release or the impact. I mean, the last client that I work with, we did a lot of removing DNA strands that weren't his,
Oh,
parasites, genetic material that wasn't his, things that he had accepted from his ancestors and his lineage. So when we started pulling everything out, his comment was, "I don't know what's happening, but it's fast and furious, and I feel really good." So he can
wow.
feel the extraction happening, and he can feel his body changing. He also felt a change in the temperature. He said, "I feel really warm and really light." So they could,
Interesting.
they physically feel everything that is happening.
Yeah, I can have one experience like that actually, and I was dumbfounded, like at just how literal it was, even like energy falling down. It was really incredible. And I think it's great that we get to experience as humans because it seemed like when I got into this field, it was all imaginary. It seemed like right, it was like invisible, and even Reiki, you're like, people didn't necessarily. But it seems now people have higher resolution of their own capacity to perceive. Have you seen that in the field?
I think a lot of us are more awake and more accepting of our abilities than we were before. We're not hiding as much. We feel like there's the space for us to step forward and be who we're meant to be. So I do see, and that's something that I facilitate as well. I want everybody to see what I'm seeing. So whoever I'm working with, they're participating in the process. I ask, how do you feel? So I want them to see what's happening in their body as the transformation and the alchemy is happening. And I ask them, what do you see? What do you perceive? So that I can also notice who's coming in, what they're doing, what's happening, what they're changing in their field or what they're activating in their field. And most people, the majority, I would say 95% of the people can get to that point and express what's happening, what they're noticing, what they're perceiving. And some, if they can't see, they'll say, I can't see, but I have a sense of it. So they're
Mm.
seeing with another part of their senses.
Yeah, and noticing it and recognizing it, just like as it was just like it's every day of the week, right? But people step into these things, it's right there, and but if going in, that's what I'm trying to help with the audience. It's like I don't know, people have this. I had this expectation like there's some quantum leap. You're like doing meditation for days, like all these types of things. But these abilities are there, and they just happen, and you just witness them. And then I think
Yeah.
another part of wow, I just witnessed myself talk to an angel. Like it's just that literal in my experience with clients. I don't know
Yeah,
if it has.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like a lot of us, sometimes we're so busy in the doingness that we actually don't notice. And a lot of
Yeah.
us do have the ability to see beyond, and not just beyond this dimension, multiple dimensions at once. And when we slow ourselves down, when we go inward and we stay still, we can see everything at once, which is also something that I like to do with my clients. Pull up everything at once. Let's see everything at once.
Virgo. Just kidding. Um, so it sounds like you help people with some really complicated and tricky energies and blockages, including, wild sounding entities, wild sounding entities like crazy ones. What kind of interferences are you really encountering? Because there's this back and forth about evil and whatnot, and whether it exists, and entities, and are there fourth dimensional beings that are sucking off our energy? How do you address all this?
Yeah, so I see everything in a lot of interference at different depth levels and different dimensions. So I have possessions, so I do a lot of exorcisms, a lot of removal of occupants, a lot of removal of walk-ins that are not in the highest good of the individual, a lot of implants, synthetic, even AI technology, mind control, um, Borg type that want to influence the mind and kind of create sort of this herd mentality. Also, arachnoids, reptilians, draconians, archons, Anunnaki. A lot of a lot of what I see, because I expand the person I'm working with to the multidimensional level, I see the many different entities that are attached at the different levels, so at different dimensions. And we clear so that the person can step into their sovereignty, so the person can truly be free and embody their powerful will to decide who they want to be in the world, how they want to impact the world, and live their fulfilled life. So that's, that's my mission, for true freedom, true joy, sovereignty, fulfillment. And these entities, and they're very tricky sometimes because they like to hide. They like to hide in the shadows. They like to hide in between the bodies. They like to hide in between dimensions. They'll create wormholes and hide in the wormholes. Fortunately, with the training that I've had since I was 5 or 6, I can sense where they are, and I can sense if they're hiding in different spaces that are unseen. So I call the unseen, the unknown. I call that which hasn't been named. And then we begin to again see everything at once. This idea of seeing everything at once is actually very powerful, because instead of going into one body, one dimension, and trying to extract everything from there, we know what we're looking for. So the intention is already there. And because I work with the luminous beings of light and source directly, everything is, it's like a masterpiece. It's like, those balls that you can expand, and they shrink and they expand, so we can expand into a big sort of image of the person, and we can see that in between, and we can call up everything that is there. And again, it's like a search, extraction, and rescue that we do for the individuals when we work with them.
Interesting.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, it sounds kind of Akashic, almost in what they're embedded in. I'm not sure. I don't have the right words for it, obviously. That is fascinating, and you just intuitively know what to do. I mean, you have your guides there, but there's somebody that intuitively knows what to do. Correct? I mean, you just pick up.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I think that came from, again, from the remembering from other lifetimes of the work that I was already doing, and also the early interactions with the guides and taking me on those missions. So I developed that knowing, that intuition of, okay, what's next? What do we do here? And what do we look for? And the ability to expand everything and call everything up all at once instead of searching one at a time.
yeah, I mean, I think as humans, we don't necessarily consider doing it all at once. You know what I mean? Like, to me, all whatever you define as all has like a spectrum vibration, and you can
Mhm.
feel what is not in the all. Like you can feel the missing, right? Like you sort of navigate to where there's a hole or navigate to where there's an issue. And this is something I think humans are just now starting to become aware of. I mean, I think it happens even in psychic travel. It's like
Mhm.
oh, something's over here. You can just kind of feel it and go in. I think that's fascinating. And what does it look like as far as for someone who's never?
Okay, you just froze. I don't know if it's you or
I
me.
think we either I'm disconnected. Oh no,
I
are we
can hear
connected?
you. I can hear you.
Are you guys there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I can hear you clearly. Okay, good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was able to hear, and then it froze. Wasn't sure if it was my end. Okay, so retrieval. Uh, so the idea of all at once, and I think the question that you were asking me is, how does somebody, you know, what does it look like to somebody when we pull everything all at once? So all at once, what it means is that we look for every place, so every plane of existence. So we look at all dimensions where there is a trace or an energy signature of the individual. We look at, karma. We look at the ancestral lineage. We look at other dimensions. We look at lifetimes, parallel lives. So imagine standing, and there are different images, different, scenarios or different movies playing all at the same time, and you're scanning through all of them to look at if there's any trauma, if there's any ET or demonic interference, if there's any domination, suppression, control, if there's anything that is interfering with the free will, if there's anything that is suppressing the spirit or trapping the spirit. And it's very interesting because in a way, what you're doing is, it might sound like Akash, what you're doing is you're identifying the soul's, the signature of your spirit, and everywhere you've moved into, everywhere you've played in, everywhere you've existed. And as we do that, we can pull everything out that is not in alignment with your highest good. So again, we're looking for entity interference. We're looking for demonic interference. We're looking for domination, suppression, control. And as we see that, we're also looking for witchcraft and black magic. So again, anything that is not in alignment with the eternal light, the eternal flame, Christ consciousness, free will, the connection with source, and we pulled everything out of the field. So it's like a very powerful extraction. Maybe it can be considered like a very powerful surgery of the beingness, or the a spiritual signature of the individual. It's very powerful, and it's amazing because the impact and the transformation and what's happening with the individual is amazing. And they're feeling shifts in their body, they're seeing images, they're feeling energy. And when we do this, what happens after that is that they're in sort of a new person, right? Because we removed everything that was in there. Now, the practice is to stay in that frequency. The practice is to stay in that field, because when we remove something, it creates an empty space. Something else was occupying that. So now we get to fill that space with something really amazing. So that's where the reprogramming also comes in. That's when the higher possibility, or choosing the higher possibility, comes in. So they get to decide who they are, who they want to be, the life that they want to live. And we get to program that into the new reality. And that continues to move into that next quantum shift, quantum timeline.
And everyone gets this? Like, in the end, everything. I guess what I'm saying is, like, we're messed up, and it sounds like nothing has been cleaned, like over these centuries or whatever. And there's like one of you. And so is there to some degree this is going to be a process that humans have to do for centuries, or every human is ready to ascend or go to the next level? It seems like there's a lot of spiritual attention.
Well, the way I like to look at it is not that there's something wrong with us, is that there's a powerful, beautiful opportunity right in front of us. If you already like your life, perfect, but there's so much more opportunity. If there's something that you want to improve, perfect. But I like to look at it as the next expansion of who we are, the next evolution of who we are, versus there's something to fix. And we get to decide how much of that. We get to decide when and how. And we get to decide if we want to do it all at once, or if we just want to focus in one area of our life. Obviously, ideally would be having it all and living that complete fulfilled life. So addressing every part of our life to live into that oneness. So again, for me, when I look at it, and I do ask my clients to look at it as well, there's nothing wrong with us. We're not broken. Where we are is where we are right now in this moment. And the leap that we want to make is just a big opportunity. When we face an opportunity, we want to close the gap from where we are to where we want to be. So that's where we look for everything that's in between. And that's when we can discover if there's some trauma, if there's an entity interference, if there's witchcraft, black magic, if there's a piece of our DNA that has been, disturbed, or if spliced and we need to repair it. So it's all an opportunity.
It sounds like a great opportunity. We're going to take a quick break after that and clear our brains and digest that energy. And when we come back, we'll be talking about Maria's work as a wealth activator, which I think everyone wants to try. We'll be right back.
Beautiful.
From the creators of 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma and 40 Days of Self-Love comes the class you've been waiting for, an introduction to Step Astrology. That's right, I'm sharing some of my inside secrets on how to read a chart according to Step Astrology and help you interpret the stars, whether it's for yourself or for clients. Keep a lookout for us coming soon.
Are you a practitioner looking to move your life's work into the spotlight? Do you have that special magic that makes you stand out? Serious Joy is now auditioning for its new Practitioner of the Week segment on Namaste Today. Sensei Christopher is looking to highlight qualified lightworkers with a promo short dedicated to raising awareness about your gifts. Interested? Contact Jenny at intuitive.com to apply for an audition and get ready to shake what your spirit gave you.
Season of Self-Love is just around the corner. Hi, I'm Gwen English, and I'm here to tell you about an exciting new offering at Serious Joy Academy. This year, as a companion to the 40 Days of Self-Love program that Sensei Christopher has gifted to the world, it's a new course called Heart Speak Oracle, a creative path to self-love. In this course, we will use collage as a way to connect to your heart and get messages from your subconscious, your higher self, and the unseen world about what your heart is wanting to heal and express in each step awareness. I am so excited. Self-love is around the corner. Swing by Serious Joy Academy and find out more. Live, love, be.
I'm real happy about that Heart Speak journal. It's going to do great. Gwen is actually my mentor of 30 years, so this is a great thing. Let's get on to this wealth activator, because I think ultimately there's enough for everyone, right? So I think that's one of the things people don't maybe understand, is that God is infinite, but when you describe yourself as a wealth activator, what does that title mean to you on a personal level? And then what does it mean to you on a spiritual level? Because personal is like go buy something cool, right?
Yeah.
Or like life, physical. Yeah.
Yeah. So wealth consciousness is a state of being, right? So for me personally, it's living into the fulfillment of who we are and living into the true you. So it's really amazing when you can embody that. At the spiritual level, it's realizing that everything that you desire is already available to you, that you are the abundance and you are the source of your own abundance, because there's a divine fortune that is within you that you can activate it and let it flow through your field and easily call it in. And then when you call it in, it's for you and for everybody else, because you hold that state of wealth consciousness.
So I'm real curious about how this works a little bit. For one, I have my own studies of the states of awareness of humans, and we have Taurus, for instance, which is really our abundance consciousness. So wherever we fit into your map, we have a little spot that we call wealth, right, or manifestation. And it seems though, and this in my study, this is brought together with love and sacred protection. Basically, that's what it is. 10, step number 10. And so that love is who you are and your identity purely. So it sounds like you're telling us, if we put the two together, that to be our authentic self and to hold our authentic self is how to do it. And I guess the next question is, well,
that's part of it.
That's part of it. Well, tell me what I missed. And how does one hold an authentic self, in your opinion?
Yeah. So ultimately it's love, right? Ultimately it's love. And to get to love, there's different pillars. So, when you're in the state of self-belief, when you're in the state of self-acceptance, when you're in the state of self-forgiveness, when you're in the state of self-love, which is part of that, like the overall love, when you believe in yourself, trust yourself, when you feel worthy and deserving and know that you're enough. So I call those the 8 pillars. When you embody those, then you can embody the overall love. Because a lot of times when you say, I am love, and you're still, holding on to regret, if you're still holding on to what you feel you failed at, so you're not truly embodying the idea of love. You're not, or love consciousness. When you say, I am, I love myself, but I don't feel worthy, they're kind of going against each other. You're kind of canceling them out. So I feel the pillars are really important. And for us to actually know what these pillars are and to actually embody and embrace and own, I am love, or I am self-belief, I am self-trust. When we embody those pillars, then we create a foundation of possibility. We start moving into the field of infinite possibility. And then we move into the higher, I am worthy, I am deserving, I am enough, I am more than enough. So we start moving into the divine essence of who we are. So we move from sort of the divine human into the divine essence of who we are. And then when we can integrate that, then we can really open for us to actually attract, hold, and grow wealth, because we can hold wealth consciousness. There isn't any other programming running in our field that says that we're not allowed to, or that we don't have permission. There's no lack and there's no scarcity, because we're running the divine essence of who we are, and we can tap into that infinite source, which is ourselves, right? We are source creation. We are the God spark. We are, we are everything that is. We're star born. So when we can tap into our true authentic self, and it comes from true love, yeah, omni love and self love, then we can access that state of wealth. And when we access that state of wealth, it doesn't matter what's going on around us. It doesn't matter if there's a challenge in front of us. It doesn't matter if we just lost our job. It doesn't matter if we're losing clients. We absolutely know that everything is perfect and that there's an awakening, that we're letting go of things because new things are coming in. So there's a very high level of trust in the relationship that you have with yourself and the divine as it's orchestrating and moving and elevating you and helping you evolve into the next and into the next. Along with that is the frequency, right? When you're aligned and integrated, you're holding source frequency. When you hold source frequency, that's the frequency of everything else, is the frequency of abundance, wealth, prosperity. When you're in service to others and you're holding the higher frequency, then you're opening up space. So there's a beautiful exchange of giving and receiving, and you're coming from abundance, especially when you're in service to others. So that's amplifying who you are. And as you amplify who you are, it's sort of like you turn up the flow of that abundance, new opportunities. It's like you turn on your blessings, you turn on who you are in the world. So again, you keep expanding into I am wealth, I am prosperity, I am a multimillionaire. You keep expanding into the next. So it's a beautiful, it's like an orchestration of what happens. And a lot of this are applicable. Like, again, there's a formula that you can use. So you have the beingness, which is the most important thing. And then you have the intention, you have the visualization, you have the action that takes place, and you have the alchemy that goes along with that. The alchemy is the healing of, what you're holding on to, so that you can truly embody your self-love, or I believe in myself, or I forgive myself. So, the alchemy, the healing that happens, that takes place, solidifies that powerful foundation of who you are. And again, your channel continues to open and overflow.
Wow, fascinating. It's almost like the creation was, God took acid and then found himself to be you or me, and then slowly kind of just reassimilates and realizes we're God. Like we go back to that consciousness.
We are a creation. Yeah, absolutely. We are God.
We're a factor, and then we realize we are. And I totally understand what you're saying about that. I mean, I think what you're describing in my world is abundance. I mean, that feeling of, and you said abundance, but there's a feeling that you've got more than you need. You just, not bounce off the walls, because there's a strange calm to it in my experience. Where one would think with all of it, but you do feel your energy getting bigger. And it seems like I've seen, in heaven stuff, clips of heaven, or wherever that realm is, that, bigger is older. I mean, like, as far as the way to describe age spiritually, like the bigger the energy, the more, the more experience the energy has, or the soul has, or the being has, it seems like. And it seems like we're adding to our energy. Now, was it that we were I guess that's this question. Do you believe in like Atlantis and the ancient civilizations? Was there a time when we were whole and we became broken and we're becoming whole again? Or are you saying possibly, no, this is just the process. You're just always getting more whole.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that we became broken, but I would say we became separated from who we were. And so in that knowing, and now that we're coming back to who we are, then we're remembering, we're restoring, we're owning, we're embodying the truth of who we are. And that allows us, to come not from victimization, but from empowerment and responsibility. I recognize what my lessons are, so I'm taking responsibility for those. Or I recognize that I'm creation itself, from creator itself, that I'm the master of my destiny. So I'm taking responsibility for that. So we're not, we're not in the past and trying to fix whatever was broken. We're observing what is not in alignment. We're observing, the separation that was created, whether we created or we were manipulated to create it, and we come back to that. And in that integration, in that awareness, we come back to the flow. The other thing that I feel like is really beautiful, that we can also identify, is when we're in abundance and when we're not. For instance, when you're talking to somebody, you're saying, hey, can you do this? And the answer is, I don't have time, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the energy. That is all lack, right? And so those are some things that we can easily change. Like, oh yeah, I can recognize that I'm coming from lack. So you can shift your words, and in shifting your words, you're shifting your thoughts, you're shifting your story, you're shifting your consciousness. So you can come back to the higher state of consciousness. That is, I am infinite abundance, and everything is available to me. And whatever I desire, if I choose it now, it's on his way to me now.
On its way to me now. Interesting. Can you share with us like an example? Because all this is so metaphysical and conscious and personal, I think, of how someone's life has changed after working with you as a wealth activator. Like what literally was happening? Were dollars going up the bank? Right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for asking that question. I run wealth consciousness experiment course program, and basically we live into the possibility. That's the whole idea. And there's different processes that we do there. And I like to ask, how is it going from the point you started? What have you created? What have you manifested?
Right.
And one of my clients, she raised her hand and she said, since I started working with you, I acquired a client that now wants me to work with him full time. She's still considering that. And in the process, she also acquired 3 more clients. So many people, what they experience is their ability to attract their ideal client, their ability to increase. And I'm saying increase because other clients have said, I've increased my income, my revenue by 34%, 50%. So the ability to attract, hold it, because sometimes it comes and it goes out,
Right.
Hold it and grow it. So these are the things that I see if we're talking directly about money. So more clients, money growth, being able to hold it, being able to build it, challenges that they had with money diminished. So if there was, let's say, an issue with a lawsuit, issue with taxes, or issue with somebody that they're going back and forth about an agreement or a contract, the outcome is much better than they expected.
Wow.
Things that they would never imagine, like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get money from the IRS. I got money from the IRS. I expected to pay. I got money back. So these are things that are happening across, many of my clients, because we're shifting the way we're relating to money, and we're shifting the expectation of money and how it shows up for us.
That indeed we are, and astrology would say the same. And I'm seeing it within people too, just being a little bit more relaxed. And the universe is testing with stock market prices and things like that. What does it mean? And congratulations on that too. I just want to say too, when the client has an actual, physical, tangible, cannot deny, I think there should be a special title for that. Congratulations, reaching that level of actual physicality and provability in their life. And again, it's something only you can be proven yourself ultimately, right? So you have to go through the process to find that answer. What does it mean to work with your luminous collective? I wonder what that term means for you, of basically plasmic beings. And I don't know if that's plasma or not. I've heard both. How do you connect with that realm?
Yeah, so it's been interesting because, if I shared earlier that it was almost like a progression when I work with the individuals or the guides initially, and then that evolved to a new sort of a new set of what I call them board members or mentors, and evolved into working with the luminous beings of light. And the luminous beings of light are direct frequency from source. And they're also a collective of the highest, sort of the elite of all these other groups, like the highest members of the Arcturians, the Syrians, the Lyrians. They're the highest sort of light beings in all of these many races that are helping us with our evolution and our ascension. And they come in and they're experts in different things. Again, a lot of the work that I'm doing now is freeing the spirit, the soul, and in the 3D is wealth, abundance, prosperity, health. And the outer planes is extracting them from the interference that they're creating so that we can have, what we desire and create the life that we want. The luminous beings, they're like, I want to call them like special forces that come in when I'm working with somebody. They come in and they identify, they extract, they remove. So if that's what's needed, or if I'm working with somebody in the health concern, they immediately take them into the med bay. So I take my clients to my ship often, and that's where we meet the luminous beings, or to the realm of the luminous beings. So either going to what we call this beautiful space that is plasmic, and they're doing the extractions, or we're going to what kind of looks like a med bay, and they are working on the individual at that level. A lot of it is frequency, working with frequency, almost like lasers that are working with the individuals. So it's really amazing working with the luminous beings, because they are, I don't know, it's again, they're like these special experts, like special forces that have a specific expertise that when we're working individual, they come in. And again, I kind of step back and just observe the process, and they're doing what they're here to do, and the individual is like a new person after that, because they work at the DNA level, they work at the blueprint level, they work at the soul spirit level, they work at the programming level. So the individuals are coming out of that experience completely new, and more like themselves. Refreshed, and of course with new frequencies and new codex that is activated. The luminous beings of light, I started working with them, I would say about 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 years ago. They I want to say that a lot of us, and you probably have experienced yourself, we also go through our quantum leaps. It's like when you're ready, and then new guys show up, and that's what I feel would happen with me as well. 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I was ready, and they showed up, and we started doing a more galactic level work, and it's been amazing working with them. Just the impact, a lot of us, the work that we do is behind the scenes, right? Because we're seeing what others are not able to see, and it's not just impacting that person, it's the collective around them and the world large, and now all the beings around many galaxies. So working with them has been just a very beautiful and powerful experience, and they just show up. Meaning that it's not like I don't have to call them in, or I don't tell my client, let's see if they want to come in. It's just, we're doing this. We get into the work, and then they have their team, and it's their team that is coming in, and their team knows exactly what they're going to be working on. And I just sit back and observe and share and relate, and bring in the tones or the light language that is needed.
Fascinating. Now, have you ever thought personally why you were selected for this role? Like, why me?
No, I really haven't asked myself that question. I am fortunate. I am excited that I was chosen for that. I feel like it's part of what I chose. At the spirit level, soul level, it's coming in to make the impact, galactic impact, and therefore, this became sort of the next level of that. And a lot of it is readiness, right? A readiness, and a lot of it is your willingness as well. One of the practices that I have every day is I surrender. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I surrender to the highest possibility, and I surrender to the highest level of impact with my clients, with Mother Earth, with the galaxies, whoever I'm going to be in front of. So I think that practice has helped me and open up to new possibilities and new mentors, new teams that have come in to work and awaken humanity, rescue humanity, protect humanity.
Yeah. And it just keeps going on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, like the new ones. And even as you're talking, like my third eye is like mapping it out. I'm like, it's dizzying, actually to feel some of the conscious that you're mapping around. And I guess you're kind of a pioneer. I mean, maybe that's the new world, right? America was a new world at that point. Now in this particular function of where we are again, kind of a roundabout, Pluto and Capricorn. Now this is the new world, this realm of consciousness. I'm always amazed how many on the other side are employed. You know what I mean? Like there's there's a lot of jobs to have there. Well, we're coming at the core stuff here at the of our time, and I'm wondering, can you just give me just a few examples for people, because I really want to help them, not call themselves crazy, right? What kind of changes might someone notice in their daily life as they activate their light body, or they step into multidimensional awareness? My friends and I have actually been talking about it the last few days. I mean, my staff has been talking about it. Our team, because we're experiencing it. But we've always looked at that, and so for the first time, we're like, whoa, it changes. Like it's changing. What can someone practical? Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the first things I do with somebody is bring back their spirit. So when the spirit is fully present and embodied, you feel yourself more in your body, more ownership of your body. You feel clear, you have greater focus, you feel you're connected to your intention, you feel more motivated and inspired, and you don't feel as exhausted
Yeah.
when you're fully in your body. So that's one of the initial things that we do, sort of to prep the rest of the work that we're doing, because now we have the spiritual body engaged in everything that we're doing. So again, very present, inspired, motivated. So that's one thing. The other thing, and it depends on what we're working with. So if we're working in an area of health, then the symptoms are no longer there. If they're having headaches, or if they're having pain, if they're having any type of symptom, either the symptoms are fully gone or they're barely noticeable. And if they're still there, obviously there's still a little bit more going to go in, but a lot of the times they're gone completely within the first session.
Wow.
If we're talking of the area of wealth, they feel more connected to their abundance, their prosperity. And that's one of the practices that we do. I look at the frequency of wealth, abundance, prosperity, money, and I look at how it's interacting with their field. And if it's not interacting, then we bring it into the field so that it can be a natural frequency that you run within your field. So a lot of the times what they say is, I feel more abundant, or I feel more at ease, or I feel more confident, or I feel like I have a better relationship with money. When the situation shows up, I'm not going into lack or scarcity, or I'm not going into doubt or worry. I feel more excited. I feel like what I'm creating or what I'm manifesting is already coming forward. I feel the confidence and I feel the trust with it.
Yeah, that's terrific. It was amazing. And what I love about what you just said was, I feel. I never once heard you say, I think. So I think it's brilliant. It is felt. It's an enchantment, so to speak, if you will. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at 360prosperity.com. You can
Okay.
also find me at evolve360.online. I have a couple different programs there. In both of them, if you wanted to learn more about yourself, or if you have a question that you're kind of dealing with right now, you can book a discovery call. It's a 15-minute where I do a quick reading and I tell you what's going on, what needs to change for you, or what is the next possibility for you, and how we can work together.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you for taking your time. You're doing some deep stuff, but it's pioneering, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. And I'm looking at some of your materials myself also, because you're pioneering in an area I haven't even begun to explore. But your vibration
My
is,
pleasure.
yeah, you're chill. Step 6 is, by the way, step 6 Pisces is I receive or I accept. So it's interesting that you are the embodiment of your own message. It's beautiful. Well, thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Yes, it's been a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for this, for being with you and your audience. It's amazing. And thank you for the work that you're doing and the invitation.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure. We'll talk about it in heaven over some ambrosia. Thank you so much. All right, folks. Wow, that was deep, man. That was deep. I was trying to follow around in my own psychic awareness, and she's like galactically moving all over the place in consciousness. And it's funny because I've had when I was younger and I was doing just getting into this, I would run into people like yourself, and I'd be like, "Is this for real?" I just did not know at that time. I can say that in my own arc of growth, yes, indeed it is. As you start to get into your own, where you are comfortable, and you start to see what a big wide world of consciousness that creation has created. I also like that she called it creation, because I kind of think that's where we're going now. Versus God, it's not a personality. It's this force of creation, and the creator would be behind it if you want to think in those terms. But it's fascinating stuff. So we thank you all for coming in and having a Friday night with us of metaphysics. Certainly we'll set up for the weekend, I think, in a better way. We'll see you next week again with Namaste Today. We had a very busy week. It was intense. So we're back with Namaste Today. And of course, we'll be here with Astro Mingle. Until next week, we love you. Live, love, be.